what was a moment where you say was the hardest moment for you as a parent?
I got a phone call one night. I think it was last year. My son had a seizure.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Tony, and this is the Generational Dad Podcast. I have a special guest for you today. This is a friend of mine. This is like a brother to me, and I've known him for 10 plus years. We used to work together at a retail store, Hollister, and we had great times, and we still keep in contact. I wanted you to learn his story because he has a good story, an entrepreneur, but most of all, a father, a great father. So I will pass it on to him, and you guys can hear his story and listen to his journey. So, Sin.
How y'all doing? Sankara Iwelu. Right now, I guess I'm working tech at a private school. I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own clothing line. It's called The Popular Nobodies. And most importantly, yes, I am a father. Like, my son is 4 years old. His name is Micah. He's a terrorist. But he's really like, he's a blast, you know, and having a son right now is an extremely, I guess, extremely gifted learning process. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
learning it and walking it. You know what I mean?
So during the show, I go through a series of questions just to kind of get, inside of, you as a parent, your journey and stuff like that, because we all have different journeys. So when did you realize you was a parent? Like before, even when your partner said that she was pregnant, when did you realize it throughout this whole time, these last 4 years?
I guess the first night my son had to spend the night with me, like that is like, wait, I got him for good. You know what I mean? Like I'm responsible for this boy the whole night. Like I got to make sure everything, I changed his diaper. Like, I feel like that was extremely surreal, like being a parent in a certain capacity is cool, but like when you got to put your boots on the ground, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why he's crying. I can't pass him off to his mom because his mom's not there. He crying for his mommy's not around, and just, making sure he eats on time, making sure he pees at a certain time, making sure he goes to bed at a certain time. Like that's when things got really, really real. So that was kind of immediate. Probably like 2 weeks in, it was like, you're a dad, my boy.
I know. I feel like that's always the struggle that, us as men, and I'm not speaking for all men, but us as, some of us are men, like that's not a natural thing. Like we're not natural caregivers and I wouldn't say like nurturers to an extent. So it's like you just gave me a Rubik's Cube. It's like, I'd figure it out and with no instructions. And I'm like, all right, what do I do? And at that time for us, like, there was no YouTube like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And there was not a lot of outlets because a lot of fathers don't really talk to each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I realized that as being as a parent, like when I talk with all my friends that has kids usually is never like, not saying not the first thing we talk about will be like, how's your kids, everything like that. We have that opening conversation, but after that is sports and all that other stuff. And no one really dives into like, yo, how your kid doing? Like, did you learn something? What, like all that stuff. No one ever does that. And I think it's sad in a way because we can learn from each other. Just like Moms has like a big community support group. Like this, when I was like doing this research and stuff like that, to just like, hey, I need to learn this. Cause when my wife left for deployment, I had to learn how to take care of a little girl. So I feel like you lucked out a little bit more because you had a boy. So, but I had to learn how to take care of a little girl, man. That was hard. That was more than a shell shock because I knew what I was doing. Yeah. Because when her mother was there, I was like kind of paying attention, but I wasn't paying attention. But then, when it's time, like, hey, I'm out, you got it. It's kind of like, damn, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, we used to play in a support role a lot.
Yeah.
So we have to step up and be Batman ourselves. Oh man, things get real. Like it's so many other intangibles that go into, the everyday with your child. Like my son came and stayed with me a few days. I just got a new apartment and he came and stayed in my new apartment for a few days. And I didn't realize how much energy this young man exudes. You know what I'm saying? Like I took him to the pool bright and early. You know what I mean? We made breakfast and like he came back from the pool and was like, so what we about to do? I'm like, there's no way. There's no way it's something else we're about to do, my friend. Like, I want to go to sleep. You know what I mean? We was for 5 hours. You know what I mean? Like, why you want to do something else? I understand. But you got to have that patience, because imagine what the moms do. You know what I mean? The mom is with the whole 10, 12 hours, you know what I mean? With a smile. Yeah.
Patience is like the big word. Like, I think our patience is like, our patience is for other things. I really think, like, sometimes as dad, our patience is to other things. Like, if you're into sports, your patience is for sports. You can wait to, for a game to come out or something like that. But when it comes to kids, sometimes that patience is different.
Mm-hmm. And it's how we was raised too, like we were raised in New York City. I don't know exactly your upbringing with your parents, but I know, like, the majority of my memory was my mom raising me. You know what I mean? My memory as a child, all the experiences that I remember really having was from my mom. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really remember, like, my pops really showing me a lot of stuff, or, walking me through a lot of stuff, but I do remember my mom walking me through a lot of stuff. So it's like, I know for a fact that she was the timekeeper, you know what I mean? Like, if we had to put things in, like, even if you had to graph it, the amount of time that a mom is going to spend with a kid compared to a dad, it's probably astronomical.
No, it is. I think so. For me, same upbringing. My mom was we was a single mom of 4 boys. So she was a single mom of 4 boys. So a lot of it was kind of for her, but us raising ourselves, because she had to work. So I played that role a lot more. I had to take that role on a lot earlier and a lot, you know what I'm saying? Because if not, then there'll be no figure. There's no father figure. There's no male figure. So I had to take on that role pretty early. I want to say like 14, 15, just kind of like started working, start going and do stuff, start contributing to the house. And that's just kind of like the mindset, and also like kind of the ethnic background of, how Asian people are. This more like it was just how we were just raised to always give money back into the house. So that's how it was for us. So that's how it was growing up, and then still going past my brothers, trying to set the example. So I didn't have a father figure to be like, hey, this is right or wrong, or this is how stern looks, or this is how discipline looks. I just had to figure it out. My mom took that role as much as she can.
Yeah.
So what was a moment where you say was the hardest moment for you as a parent?
I got a phone call one night. I think it was last year. My son had a seizure. And I was like, what do you mean he had a seizure? I don't understand. She's like, he has a seizure and he's not responsive, and they're taking him to the hospital. So I literally ran around the corner to my homeboy's crib. He literally just parked his car. I'm like, y'all need your car real quick. They're like, what's up? I'm like, yo, my son had a seizure. Took his car, couldn't find parking at the hospital, parked in front of a hydrant, ran in there, and he's just like laid in that bed and, shaking and crying. And seeing that had me like in a cluster. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mind was just all over the place. And in this situation, there's nothing I can do. Like, there's nothing I can do to rectify the situation. There's nothing I can say to make him smile. There's nothing. I can't pick him up right now. They're putting needles in him. You know what I mean? They have like the little stickers and wires attached to his head, trying to figure out what's going on. And that right there really had me like in a world of darkness. I had no answers. You know what I mean? And like, no matter what, you never want to see your child in a, you don't want to see your child in a hospital bed at all. You know what I mean? So like, when you see them in a hospital bed and you hear, the little doop, doop, doop and all that, you get worried.
It gets scary because
scary. So that was a dark place.
Because you felt helpless.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel I'm a relatively powerful person. You know what I mean? I consider myself a leader, and I consider myself to be, one of the leaders of the pack, and to not even be in control, and like someone telling me, you fall back, we got to do this. And I just have to watch, and my son is crying, and I know that, like, I ain't no doctor, but I'm like, damn, I could try to help, That was scary for me.
Yeah, I think that's, man, I've never went through that situation, and I hope you don't ever go through it again, and I hope no one goes through it, because like,
no one's going through it. Sure.
That I don't even know. That's a real, like, you think like that helpless feeling, like you feel like you cannot do nothing, and you just weak, like you feel useless in that moment. My next question for you was, when was it an uncomfortable moment as a parent?
Comfortable moment as a parent. Well, I remember I used to have to go and pick him up from his mom's place, and there were times where he just used to have like these outbursts. Like he would like fall on the floor. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And just, be hysterically crying. And I was like, man, like, am I doing something wrong? Like, you don't want to be with Daddy? Like, I don't understand. But it's literally children are creatures of habit, with his mom, you know what I mean? And I guess he's, he favors his mother, you know what I mean? Like, listen, it ain't no knock on you. You still daddy, but he loves his mama, you know what I mean? So getting adjusted to that, like having your kid not want to be with you, so to say, was kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like maybe like 30 minutes after he'd be cool, but in that initial moment, it's just like you feel defeated before things even start. Cause it's like, man, you don't want to be with me right now. Like you don't like me or something. Like, did I do something wrong? You know?
And I think that's the worst part. It's feeling like you did something wrong.
Yeah, like, and I'm talking about literally before the day even starts, you know what I mean? I'm there at 12, and he's just like hysterically crying like he don't want to be with me, he want to be with his mother. But it's just like, come on, my boy, give me a break. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying, I promise you.
And I'm glad that you still push through it, because for a lot of people, if you think about it, that could be defeating. Like to the point where it's like, yeah, my kid don't like me. Why do I even pick him up? Or why do I even see him?
Yeah, and honestly, like the thought could come into your head, but you being a young man and knowing what it's like to be raised by your mother, you know better. You know what I'm saying? And it takes a certain caliber of you to say, but I know exactly what it feels like to be left.
Yeah.
So how could I leave a kid because he's being a kid?
And because they don't know no better.
Yeah, they don't. Like, they learn it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he has to learn the duality. Like, it's going to be times you're going to be with mommy. It's going to be times you're going to be with daddy. Right now, it's daddy time. Mommy need her space. Mommy need to go do what she got to do. So, you know what I mean? Let's rock.
And no, like I said, I'm glad that you push forward, because, like, anybody could just be like, you know what, man, since you don't like me and, you know what I'm saying, I'm doing my part, I'm out. And I'm not going to, I have to stay around. And like I said, you're right. It takes a different caliber of person and a different man. And that's why I love like having these interviews. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, because I'm like, yo, I know what I'm getting when I'm speaking to you. Like I know what I'm getting. And that's why I was like, yo, Sin, you gotta be on this. It's only right. Like I say, there's a lot of people that says that they're like, they want to share their story, but sometimes when it's time, like, when I want to get with them, they don't share their story because it gets a little darker. Like, be like, oh, you know what? It sounded good at the beginning, but maybe I'm not doing what this channel is was really expressing.
Yeah. And people, it's funny. People like to, put their best foot forward and show how great of a dad that they are. I'm not the world's best dad. I know that for a fact, but I'm learning how to be a great dad to my son. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about you being the greatest father on the planet and posting on Instagram all the time. Like, I post my son on my story because I just think he's hilarious. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the moments that we're having together, I feel like somebody needs to see this to know that I'm not joking when I tell them the story. Like, listen,
no, he's funny.
He's that crazy. Like, the guy is really funny. So when I do that, it's not showing off or like, giving my best parent sticker or dad sticker, whatever. I don't care about stuff like that. But I do know the experiences that I didn't have, I got to give to him. So, it's necessary, you know what I mean? And we grew up, me and you, we grew up from young men.
Yeah.
Over 10 years ago. Yeah. And we had no idea that we'd both be fathers now.
Yeah, like, you're absolutely right.
Imagination that eventually we would be parents, but like, look at us now. We're both parents and we're both striving, and we're on different sides of the globe.
Yeah, different sides of the globe, and still trying to be the best that we can. Trying to be. I know I said this before to someone. I think it's like, it's not about being perfect, but it's really about being present. Like that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, your kid will understand that. Like when they are older, and it's like having God's eye or being a fly on the wall. When they be like, yeah, my dad was there. Yeah, my dad did that with me. It I feel like it holds so much weight, because it's like, he has that to say, not to on a bragging sense, but on more like my foundation was there. I had a foundation.
Absolutely.
And it will help him move forward, because I think kids having both parents, especially even if both your parents are, both the parents are not on the same, wavelength, with each other, they should be on the same accord with your child. Like, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I always say work out the kinks. I know it's easier said than done. A lot of situations stop that, but sometimes you gotta just find a third party, find a fourth party, and just kind of reel them back in and let them know, like, this child is the reason. Yeah. This is legacy. So let's not mess up legacy.
Yeah, I always tell people too, like, no matter who you dealing with or dealt with, it's not about that. It's about the kid. Get the personal out the way. You know what I mean? Get out your feelings. Y'all not together. They might be with somebody else. That's cool. But y'all have a child together, take care of that child. Make sure that child gets what they need. Make sure that child never is in want. You feel me? Like, and I'm not saying in want meaning like spoil the kid to death. You can spoil your child. That's cool. But make sure that there's nothing that this child is, lacking that they're gonna need in life. So as much time as I can possibly give my son, I'm gonna give him. As much love as I can give him, I'm gonna give him. You know what I mean? As much experiences that I can give him, I'm gonna give him, because I owe that to him. He ain't actually be here.
No, you're right. But see, that it takes a different caliber of person to think like that. It's just back to that caliber mindset. We should coin that, right? The caliber mindset, because that's the truth.
It is true. Like it's easy to stop doing something. It's easy to, leave a kid in the dust, you know what I mean? Because you don't deal with the mom, or the mom is a headache. But it's like, do you understand what that's going to do to that child? You're just going to, trauma equals trauma, you know what I mean? Like, especially if you treat it that way. So,
can you imagine that? Like, I can't fathom that for a lot of people. I mean, to have a part of you out there in the world and you just cool with it. Like, that's scary to me. That is scary, because if you're okay with that, you know what I'm saying? If I was your friend or something like that, where do I stand?
Yeah, you would leave me at any given moment.
Yeah, like if your own flesh and blood.
Yeah. And then think about this, especially you growing up in a single parent home with your mom, right? Mm-hmm. You didn't have the experience of your dad there. Are you telling me you're going to leave another kid without the experience of a dad where you could be the change? Come on, like that's not sensible, That's why I get it. Like honestly, I don't get it, but at the same token, it's like if that's the path you want to walk, my friend, have fun.
But that journey is going to be really sad. Yeah. Because imagine that your kid down the line, their kid down the line does amazing stuff, greatness. You know what I'm saying? You was the driving factor, even though you could have been a part of the driving factor. You was the driving factor, and now they succeed, and you want to come around. It's kind of like you don't deserve that.
Yeah, and that's that just shows how selfish people can be. We got to get out of it better.
So that's why I try to not surround myself with kind of like those type of people, because, like I said, if you're willing to let your kid, fend for his own kind of in a way, then what are you going to do with me when I need help?
Yep.
So my fourth question for you is, the question is, when was it a teaching moment for you as a parent?
When was it a teaching moment for me as a parent?
Yeah.
I guess recently it's like my son on his scooter. Like, I don't know what it is about 4-year-olds, but like they are comfortable with like being daredevils. He wants to be fast. He wants to jump off stuff. He wants to fight. He wants to be rough. And it's like, my man, I tell him this every day. I'm like, yo, come here real quick. I'm like, what do we say? He's like, slow down. I'm like, what's the rush? Like I'm a laid back kind of guy. So I'm always like, what are we rushing to do exactly? Like, do you understand the purpose of what you're doing right now? And he's like, no. And like, he doesn't. Like, I know he doesn't understand. But it's like, hey, if you ride on this scooter really fast and you hit a bump and you fall off that thing, you're going to hurt your knee, right? You're going to hurt your knee. You're going to come to me and cry. Do you think I'm going to console you? No, because I told you to slow down, And he'll never really get it until it happens. And like, I'll always call it. I'm like, yo, slow down, bro. You're going to hit your knee. You know what I mean? You're going to fall off the scooter. And literally, as soon as I say it, fall off the scooter, hit his knee, comes up to me, wet eyes. And it's like, it hurts, doesn't it? And he's like, yes. I'm like, you want to cry, right? He's like, yes. I'm like, do you think I'm going to hold you right now? He's like, no. I'm like, of course not. Like, I'm not going to, I told you, I predicted the future, my friend. And you still did exactly what I told you not to do. You know, so I'm like, listen, shrug it off, give me a hug, and what you gonna do like on that scooter?
But you still console them.
Yeah, you got to still, no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, but you're not gonna let them
know that.
You're not gonna let them make the big mistake and then like, oh, baby. Nah, allow them to make the mistake, allow them to understand that they made the mistake, and now how do you adapt? You know, I try my best to like not be stern on my child and be tough, but I want my child to understand logic. You know, if you get hurt, and I told you that this is the way that you get hurt, you deserve to get hurt right now. You know, as long as it's not, you know, breaking a bone or us ending up in the hospital. That's the last thing I want to do, obviously. But after they do that, I'm pretty sure he'll know, well, I guess I do got to slow down because that definitely did hurt last time, you know?
I guess, I mean, experience is the best teacher. I think that still applies to us as adults. Yeah. Someone tell us that, hey, don't do that, man. Don't mess with that person. Don't hang out right there. We still do it. So, and then until something happens, then we'll be like, damn, should have listened. So,
yeah, you did.
So I guess sometimes we gotta, I do that sometimes with my daughter. Like I kind of tell her like, hey, and I don't want to say I need to treat her a little bit more softer because she is a little girl, but sometimes I tend to. I mean, your daughters have the best of you. I'm telling you, when it's your time to have a daughter, I'm telling you, you'll understand fully. Like they automatically win. Yeah. So it's just consoling actually comes first before the lesson. The lesson's kind of like after, like, hey, we're not gonna do this no more. And she understands it after because you know the first time really hurts. But I think experience is the best teacher, and sometimes we gotta kind of like you said, kind of let them make that mistake, but also let them understand that if you do this again, the results are the same. It's like doing the same thing over and over. It's like insanity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, here's a good one. So the next question I got for you is, when was a time where you and the mother of your son had a struggle parenting?
Had a struggle parenting.
Where you guys didn't see eye to eye on a style or a technique or.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. There was a time where, like, he's in between homes. Obviously, he stays with his mom. He stays with me. And there was a time where she used to just call me because he was just like going berserk at her house. Like, I don't know, she called me, I don't know what's going on. He's going crazy. He's having these temper tantrums. He's saying whatever. And I'm like, who? Like, who is saying this stuff? I don't understand. And she's like, Micah. And I'm like, this is like, to me, it's like, this is impossible because when he comes to me, this does not happen, you know? So I'm like thoroughly confused. And I would be like, all right, FaceTime me. Let's see what's up. And I would FaceTime him and he would just be like, so pumped and so angry or so whatever. And I'm like, what's going on, my friend? Like, are you serious right now? Like, you're disrespecting your mom, you know what I mean? Like, when you come over, you know, it's no iPad, no nothing, this, that, and third. But I guess seeing your kid somewhere else and then acting a certain type of way that you're not accustomed to makes you scratch a bit, you know? So like we had to really, you know, sit down and talk about some things like, hey, what's actually going on that's making him act like that? You know what I mean? Like, is he by himself all the time? You know what I mean? Like what's making him be so angry? What's making him be this? What's making him be that? And my thing was like, honestly, I just got to be more present, you know? Like I just took the accountability for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess I'll get him an extra day. You know what I mean? Because maybe that'll take away, you know, the tantrums and the nonsense. So that's what I think. It's like, you just got to always figure out the answers to the question pretty fast.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought that was powerful what you said, kind of like taking accountability. I think that's just accountability of like, hey, you know what? Maybe I need to be there a little bit more. And even within the situation, I think that's so big. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we talk about like, you know, I'm the bigger person or trying to, it sounds good to say that you're doing, you know, the greatest things in the world, but until it's time to be the bigger person, that's something that you have to just stomach up. Like, yeah, I got this. I'll do it. I'll rise you up for it.
Absolutely. It's gonna be more sacrifices than a little bit for the, you know, for the sake of the child. And like, you just gotta be all right with that. I don't sweat it because I know, like, hey, I understand that this child is the investment. You're gonna be greater than me. You know, I like you have to be. You know what I mean? Like, and not to say like you have, you know, this pressure, but like if you're a product of me, I need you to be a better version of myself. You know what I'm saying? Like you're my 2.0. You have to be better than me. You can't make the mistakes that I made. You're not going to work, you know, at Hollister. No disrespect to that, but you know what I mean? Like we did that out of, you know, our own desperations or, you know, whatever.
Necessity.
Necessity, because we had to. We had bills to pay. We had et cetera, et cetera. Like I want my kid to figure it out earlier than I did. Everything that I missed out on, my kid will have an opportunity to, you know, acquire and achieve. So, you know, I'm lining things up to make sure my kid doesn't have to do the same things I had to do.
And that's that legacy mindset. That legacy mindset. Some people don't see that. Like, and like I said, I'm not here to knock on nobody that, you know, that they don't, but I'm just proud to hear that someone else thinks that legacy mindset, like, yo, my kid has to be better than me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm laying all the groundwork for you so your feet don't hurt when you walk on it. Like that's like, and I guess as a parent, I mean, especially as a father, but as a parent, you feel like a little accomplished because you got like, that's the rewarding part. Like, you know, how some people be like, you know, parenting is not rewarding, da, 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 da. There's some people that say that. And my counter to that's like, give it 10 years. Give it 10 years. And then if you pour enough into your child's cup, if you poured enough into their cup and invested in their interest in 10 years, see how rewarding that is. You know what I'm saying? Like if they have the right mentorship, they have the right guidance, usually kids pan out correctly. Yeah, they'll make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. We'll make mistakes, but somehow down the line, we'll pan out correctly if you had all of those right things. And if you don't, at least you tried. That's one thing I think you could always lean back on. I tried my best. I never shorted nothing. So at the end of the day, yeah, it's still a win-win. Whether your kid succeeds, you had all hand in that. And even if they don't, you know, live up to the expectation, you did your best. Like you was not absent.
Yeah. And my thing is also like, I'm not mapping out my son's destiny. Mm-hmm. Destiny is his own. He's his own man. I just got to make sure he has all the tools necessary and all the assistance he can get to get there. You know what I mean? Like whatever he chooses to do, like, you know, God bless him. You know what I mean? That's his path. But like, I'm not going to get in the way of that. And I'm going to make sure that he can chase his dreams to his best ability.
I think all you can do is just set him up for success. That's all you can do.
That's it. Give you all the tools. You know what I mean? Make sure you get into, you know, acting classes, learn photography, learn different languages, you know what I mean? Learn instrument, play sports, you know, branding. Obviously, you know, I have a clothing line, mess around, give him his own line. And then by the time he's old enough, like whatever he chooses to do, he's going to do. But I'm going to put things in front of him to open his eyes to be like, hey, this is here too, my friend, just to let you know. This is available to you. This is something that you can do. So like you figure things out and have the board so open for him that he can figure out what he really likes and what he doesn't like, you know? Like if he tells me he doesn't like clothing like that, I don't want to do a clothing line. All right, cool. I'll save some more money, put it on my stuff. You know what I mean? He wants to do photography, you buy him a camera. You know what I mean? He wants to make beats, you get him a laptop or you get him a drum kit. But you got to make sure that you're giving the kid opportunities to choose something. Not
open his palette.
Go that way. Like, nah, you got to give him the freedom to walk down the path.
Open his palettes to more things.
Absolutely. Like, you know how much amazing we would be if we had those things as kids? I think about that too. So it's like, and it's past now. So like, I can't cry over spilled milk. but I have the opportunity to get that to my kid. So why not?
And also, you still have the opportunity to figure it out for yourself. I mean, as you get older, you get wiser, and you start branching out further. So I think that's dope to just think of that in a legacy standpoint, like kind of just give your kids all the opportunities and set them up for success. Because the last thing you want to do is be a part, like have a hand in helping them fail. My last question is, if you had an advice to give to other parents, what would it be?
Live with love. Live with love. Honestly, like life is short, just due to the fact that anything can happen. You don't know how much time you have on this planet.
Yeah.
So if, God forbid you have to leave your child, what did you leave him with? You gotta be a loving person, because you don't want your children growing up cold. You don't want your children growing up with that chip on your shoulder like you did. Yeah. You have the opportunity to change the trajectory of what they had. So it's like, as long as I give my kid as much love and time as possible, I'm giving him my best, and I have to lead with that. Like, if you can't do that, like, you won't be successful in anything. You chasing a career path and you don't live it with love, like, what are you doing it for? You're just doing it for the check. You're gonna run yourself ragged. Yeah. You gotta lead everything in life with love. And that's paramount to your existence.
No, like, even you saying that's just kind of like, I think that's why I enjoy doing this right now. Like, I really enjoy doing this. Like, even like, it's just lead with love, because I actually love being a dad. I know that sounds for some, it's like, oh, that's what you love. That's what I love, being a dad, because I get to spend quality time. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, whether it could be childhood trauma, it could be, wanting something. It's kind of just having to be able to spend time with my kid. It's kind of like, damn, I missed out on that. I don't want her to miss out on that. You know what I'm saying? If I leave, and I always, it's crazy, it's super morbid, but I feel like if I ever leave this earth, I want to, at the split moment, I want to make sure she knows that, like, I gave her every ounce of me as a dad, as a provider, as a father figure. I gave her every ounce of me: love, affection, care, understandings, teaching. I want to make sure that she understands that, even if I pass later on, just to your kid to know that, because the last thing you want is, you leave this earth and they hate you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Yeah, you, of course, when you're gone, you're not going to think about it, but to them, it's like, that's going to eat them up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I hated him, and now he's gone. I can't even see if, we could amend the fences. Mm-hmm. No, and I think that's dope to think, just lead with love. I think that's something I'm gonna take away with. So I lead with love and continue leading with love, because
that's it. Like, if you pursue something with love, you're gonna have a great journey, no matter what the destination looks like in the end. Like, people, unfortunately, we go through life just trying to get to the end. And it's like, nah, love the journey, love the map, love taking the next step. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna love going to the amusement park with your kid. I'm gonna love the getting up, getting the breakfast, getting him dressed to go to the amusement park. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna have fun together, but like, the amusement park will end.
Yeah.
Eventually. But you two won't. And it's about continuously building those loving experiences to carry on with everything in life. Not just, you being the dad, it's you being the you. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing this podcast right now because you love being a dad, and you feel like this love or this connection and these conversations need to be pressed to people. So you might inspire somebody else to say, damn, I might need to have this conversation with somebody. I might need to ask, one of my men's one of these questions today. Mm-hmm. After they see this type of thing, they'll be like, man, let me go holler at a dad real quick. You know what I mean? My man's just having an issue. Go watch this episode. That'll do something for me. And that's leading with love, because you care about somebody.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, that's another reason. Like, when I was watching like other dad podcasts and stuff like that, and I was like, damn, they got some good content, but it's just kind of like they just stop a little bit. Like, some episodes stop, some episodes they don't speak more of what, they start we're speaking to the dads, but then it kind of just veers off to like monetization and stuff like that. And it's cool. And I get it. I love it. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing to earn your check. But did you lose the essence of it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Did it just become a more of a clickbait thing versus like, yo, this is like a real talk thing? So that's the purpose of it. Like, I'm not trying to get monetized from it. I'm not trying to get rich from this. I just want to make sure that I left something out there in the world where I felt like I was doing something right and just giving back. Honestly, just giving back. Because I know if someone writes in the comments, someone sends me a DM like, yo, man, thank you for, this video is kind of like, I never had to think of these questions, or these questions never, what I'm saying, or these conversations never came about, or I had these questions and I didn't have an answer for it. So maybe someone else's situation can help my situation. So that's the purpose of all this, honestly. But bro, I thank you for coming on the show. I thank you for, waking up early and being a part of this. But I learned a lot, honestly. And speaking, I learned a lot. Like, I learned a lot. You make me think of this caliber mindset. And it really like it hits different. The word caliber mindset is like you really have to have that type of fortitude to step up when no one's looking, when you know what I'm saying, when no Instagram post is out, you just got to do it.
Yeah. Like people, unfortunately, in this social media age, like it's easy to show your highlight reels. But you got to work out in the gym before you can get the highlights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got to go put in the back end work. You know what I'm saying? Like go and actually work when nobody's watching. You got to stop caring about feeding people filler.
Yeah.
When it's real, show people, show people the dark times too. People want to people always don't want to know that, you're just this impenetrable object, like, man, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. Nah, I'm not. I'm a dude from Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Like,
as raising a kid and trying to do it the best you can.
Trying to run a business, trying to be successful in all endeavors that's in my path. That's it. Like, it's not rocket science. And like, I promise you, if I can do it, I know I'm not special, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to outwork my circumstance. That's just different. So like, if you're going to work, you're going to be successful. And if you're not going to work, it's going to be hard on you. And that's just life.
Utilize your 24 hours.
Utilize your 24 hours. And like, make a plan. You've got to have a plan.
That's true. That is true. Because I'm sorry. I guess as we get older, winging it doesn't work as well as it used to. Yeah.
Just the other night, 2 nights ago, I came to my mom's house. My mom picks him up from school on Fridays for me, right? I get off work at 4. I come to my mom's house and he's like, my son is like, so am I going to your house tonight? I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, like, am I going to your house? I'm like, that's what you want to do? He's like, yeah. So I'm sitting down, having a drink with my mom. And he's like, you ready? I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, like I'm ready to go now. I was like, oh, okay. So, all right, you're in charge. Cool. We get up, we go to my crib. Literally, he picks up the Nintendo Switch. He's playing Nintendo Switch. He goes to his room and just kicks it. But like, it's not, it's just about what he wants to do. He just wants to be with me. He wants to be with me in my place. Like, it's cool that he's at grandma's house. But like, I'm learning now, he's going to want more time just to have buddy time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, listen, I'm going to go back to grandma tomorrow, whatever. Like, but I want to be with you right now, my man. So let's go to your house. Let's go play video games. Let's chill. Let's, eat popcorn and stay up all night and whatever. And he can't hang past 10 anyway. So it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Kids always want to be down till it gets late.
But if you think about it, like even just talking about it, it's kind of like he just wanted to spend time with you. That's it. He just want to be in your presence. Yeah.
And what else do I have that's that important to do? Come on. Like, I get it. It's Friday. But like, why do I care? It's not that deep.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's just thinking about that. Like, he just wants, that's like your kid loves you. That's that because he just wants to spend time with you. He knows You guys are just sitting there chilling. That's enough for him.
Sitting there chilling is enough for him. And like, if that's what makes me the greatest dad to him, I'll take it. I'll take it, sure.
So hey, that's a win. That's an easy win. Take it.
That's all I got to do. That's all I got to put out. I'll take it.
But isn't that crazy? Think about it. All you got to do is just be there. That's it.
All you got to do is be there. Like,
that's it. You just
nothing changes in the universe. You're not missing out on nothing. Like, the clubs will always be the clubs. Parties will always be the parties. Everything else will still be everything else. But like, you just being there works.
That's the first step. I think that's the biggest step. Like that's 50%. I think everything else in life is culminated. Yeah, we would have calculated together, but I think 50% is just being there.
Yeah, I honestly feel like it's 80%. Like you just gotta be there. Like kids don't care for too much. They just want like literally like your daughter right now, how she came out there, right?
Waiting for me.
She just wants to see you in the room. She just wants your aura and your presence on her. That's it.
I'm not doing nothing different.
You're not doing nothing different. It's not like, hey, Dad, I need you to build something for me or go do something. Nah, I just need you to stand right there and do whatever you do. You can get your phone. You can get on Instagram. You can be on your computer, but you need to be in this room with me right now because I need you close. Thanks.
And that's it.
And that's it. If that's the price, pay it 10 times over.
No, that's amazing. And again, I thank you for coming on here, man. Honestly, like this is dope. Dope content. I'm ending it off. Thank you guys for watching the show. If you got good content from this, please just subscribe. There'll be a bunch of more interviews that we're gonna drop so you guys can get more stories, more experiences from different fathers of their journey through fatherhood. So thank you guys, and we're out.